Good morning. Good morning. Actually, good afternoon for some of you guys. So it is Saturday. That means Saturday roll call. So looking forward to seeing you guys tonight, 8 p.m. Didn't feel like doing an edit, so I decided to do this live because I wanted to have a quick discussion. But Saturday roll call is tonight at 8 p.m. There's no more playoff games, so no more college games. So 8 p.m. to about 10 p.m. max. Let's just try to keep that. And let's see what's going on, family man. How you doing today? Okay, so I just want to have a quick discussion, man, because I got to get up out of here. I got somewhere I'm going, and I want to have this quick discussion because I've had this question several times. Nothing much, man. Just trying to enjoy my Saturday. What's going on, T Mix? I've had this question now several times, and this question is about veterans moving overseas. Now, I've had some people leave comments saying you got a decent pension. Why would you not live overseas? It only makes sense. And I've had others who go, there's absolutely no way I would live overseas. Now, I recently had a comment. I'm going to put it up real quick. I want to read exactly what it is from someone else about living overseas. And I just want to give my opinion on it because I've been living overseas for a while. I've seen a lot of people come and go. And, it's one of those things where people only see it from one side or their side, and they don't really understand it from somebody else's point of view. And I was that way too, but I had to change the way I think about things and be more open and honest about it, right? So let me pull up this comment. So the latest comment I got says, "Hey Markel, hope all is well. I sold everything and have been traveling for a few weeks, and a part of me miss home, USA. Do you get homesick often, or is it just the beginning phase?" Okay. Now, I want to address this, and I want to address people who leave comments on both sides because I left some information about cities, like the cheapest cities for retirees to live in and the most expensive cities for retirees to live in. So here's my take on the whole situation. Okay. Here's my take. Living overseas is not for everyone. It's really not. There are some people who are really close to their family and their friends, and they don't want to leave that, which is reason enough for people not to want to leave where they are in their situations and move overseas. Because one of the things that happen, and you can look at statistics, and statistics will tell you within the first 2 years, most people, not all, but a lot of people who plan to be expats end up moving back to their home country, and it's usually over loneliness. The second reason is financial, but the main reason people leave is loneliness, because there's a difference between, right, you like knowing people you grew up with your whole life and you have this social circle that you're in, and you're moving to another country now where you know no one. If you're not taking like your spouse or your immediate family with you, you know no one. So all the habits and things that you're used to doing and people you're accustomed to seeing and talking to on a daily basis in the United States, that goes away. You're completely on your own when you're in these countries. And you have to start completely over and build relationships. Now, for some people, that's no problem, right? For me, I started slow. I've been traveling since I was 37. I'm 50 years old now. And I would go stay in places for a couple of months to see if I like it, if I could deal with whatever the situation was. And if I couldn't, I wouldn't stay there. I would move to a different location, right? But it took time for me to get acclimated to living a certain way. But for some of you guys, it just seems like you watch YouTube, you watch Instagram, you watch stuff on Facebook, and then you'll just decide, okay, I want to go do this. And it's not what you think it is, regardless of how wonderful things sound. There are a lot of advantages to living overseas, and there's also a lot of disadvantages to living overseas. I've named some. The biggest reason why a lot of people leave the US and want to move overseas is money. They believe their money goes much further in another country where the dollar is stronger. And in most situations, that is true. But it also depends on the lifestyle and the person, because you could have $8,000 a month, but if your spending habits is $7,900 a month, Well, you didn't do much by leaving your home country, coming to this country with the same exact habits. That did you no good. You at the end of the month, you're still broke. So that does you no good, in my opinion. It does you no good. I've seen it here. I've seen people come here, they got their 100%, they think they're gonna be okay, but they brought the same spending habits that they had from the US here. By the 15th, 16th of the month, they broke. In the US, they had people that they could go to borrow money to get them through to the rest of the month. They don't have that here. Most of the time, when people move to countries like this, say you come into Colombia, okay? Say you come into Colombia. The majority of the time when these people come to Colombia, they're not meeting like the CEOs, the doctors, or maybe they got a family member in the States that was doing well for themselves. And they were able to go to them to borrow money. A lot of times people come here and they're meeting people from the barrios that don't have money like that. They don't. A lot of times you'll meet some people, they don't even have cell service here. Like they depend on going to the parks or going to the malls just to get Wi-Fi just so they can talk to you. That's the type of situations a lot of these people come to when they come to countries like this. And also, when it comes to emergency situations, going to the hospital or just dealing with anything, a lot of these people don't have anybody they can confide in. If something was to happen to someone overseas who recently moved overseas and they had to go into a hospital or they had to have some kind of whatever emergency comes up, who they gonna confide in? Who you gonna talk to? Who you gonna tell? Most of the time, they don't have anyone like that. So they end up having to call somebody in the States. They got to then come from the States to try to come over and help them. You understand what I'm saying? So it's more to it than just the edits of partying, the edits of people supposedly living a certain way. A lot of times people are not completely honest with their situations when they're living overseas because it's not all that it cracks up to be. Even in the situation I'm in, dude, I get so frustrated sometimes with people smoking marijuana, right? I got people down the hall that smokes. I got people below me that smokes. And it's not like in the US where you got all these vent fans everywhere you can turn on and just drive that smell out. Here is an open air system. So anything that's permeating through the building, you get it. And I get tired of spending money on freaking air fresheners because these people got marijuana habits everywhere you look. But just that's something you got to deal with, right? One of the reasons why I'm not in some of the other areas here and never decided to move to those areas, because I don't want to wake up to somebody on a fruit truck screaming about strawberries, or they got avocados, or they're serenading their neighbors or whoever. I don't want to hear that bullshit. But some people do. They're willing to put up with it. And that's the thing that I want people to get, man, is that I don't care how much the edit looks great. Until you're actually in those situations on the ground and you see how it really is, that's when you know this is where you want to stay. This is where you know this is not where you want to be. Okay? Regardless of what somebody tells you, only you know what you're willing to put up with. If you short on patience, right? You don't have the patience to like try to understand another language or deal with people in the way that they do it. Because these are called developing countries for a reason. If every time you go somewhere, you're trying to compare where you are to the United States of America, stay your ass in the States. I'm gonna tell you that right now. If you're gonna leave the US and you're coming to a developing country, you need to come with an open mind and you need to come with patience. Because the way they do things in these countries is totally different than anything you expect in the United States of America. Just paying a bill can be complicated. Just getting something as simple in the US that you can get online, pay for, it'll be at your house in a week, may take you 3 or 4 months. That's just the reality. That is I got a situation right now, bro. I paid my cell phone bill on the 4th of every month. My history on the app shows I pay it every month. Yet for the last 2 weeks, I've gotten nonstop text messages, nonstop phone calls asking me to make a payment I've already made. I go to the service and I tell them, hey, I paid this. I show them a receipt. I show them my payment history. They verified it. Yes, you paid it. Why am I getting these phone calls? Oh, it's a glitch in the system and nothing we can do about it. Just ignore it. That's what they tell you. How many of you all would be able to deal with that? You get constant phone calls like every other hour telling you to go pay a bill you already paid. You guys understand what I'm saying, man? Things in these countries are not the same as where you came from that you're accustomed to. And that's basically what I'm trying to get to, man. Regardless of how wonderful it sounds, and there are great things about living overseas. I don't want to take away from that. Learning a new culture, learning a new language, seeing what's out there in the world. But it is not all roses. And if you don't have the patience, you don't have the income, you're going to find out quickly. It ain't what you think it is. It's not. It is not. And you're going to miss a lot of things from the United States of America. You're going to miss it. You're going to miss the hell out of a lot of stuff. And if you're not prepared for that, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. You are. From the simplest things of just getting mail, simplest things of just seeing something on TV and then go buy it. Just go right to Best Buy and buy it, or go right to whatever store and buy it. Don't work like that here. It just don't work like that here, you know? And that's something you have to get accustomed to when you're overseas. And that's my take on it. Hey, Marquette, would you recommend Puerto Rico as a place to live for 100% disabled veteran and their only source for income is from the VA? Do you think they will be able to live okay? Thanks. Puerto Rico is part of the U.S., so it's U.S. territory. So yeah, there's language there is English, but Spanish is probably number one and English is number two. But you'll be fine in Puerto Rico, right? Because you basically got the same healthcare system in Puerto Rico that you have in the mainlands of the U.S. So you're not going to have the same type of issues in Puerto Rico, that you would have here in Colombia, as an example, that in Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico, it's just like being in the U.S., right? You got an actual VA. You got a U.S. government ran VA, not a third-party service that can only see you for certain things. You don't have that. You have an actual emergency center in Puerto Rico versus here, you got to go to a regular hospital with any issue you may have. In Puerto Rico, you got to have emergency service depending on your rating. You don't have to worry about it. They're going to handle it. Versus here, you coming out of pocket. So Puerto Rico, U.S. territory, is a much different situation than you saying, well, I'm going to the Dominican Republic and this is my issue, versus I'm going to Puerto Rico, just like being in the mainlands. There ain't that much of a difference. Finally, 100% PNT, congratulations. I appreciate all the education the past 2 years you've given to us vets. Now let me give the Beamer. Wait, now let me get that Beamer in Arizona. Oh no, that Beamer's gone, bro. I already took care of that. That's already gone. Hey, I got to get ready to get up out of here because they texting me now. They're on their way. Let's see. I love living overseas. For me, this started when I was in the military. The cost of living in other countries is awesome, which is true. It is true. Like places in these countries that you probably, areas, I put it this way, areas that you probably couldn't afford as easily in the U.S., you can afford most of the time easily in these countries, right? But it all depends. Like everybody's income is not the same. Places that I'm looking at and like Llano Grande, housing that's like anywhere from $450 to $500,000. Everybody's not going to look like that. And the housing they got in that area looks like a mansion in the U.S. That same house would probably cost me $3 to $5 million in the U.S. Couldn't afford that. But here, oh yeah, easily. But it's just different. It's different. So pricing is affordable for some, not all. You coming, and this is my opinion, okay? You coming $1,200, $1,500, I don't see the benefit of it. I really don't. Because for $1,200 to $1,500 in the area that it's going to put you in, which is normally the Campo, why wouldn't you just go to Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, moving to one of those towns, you're still in America. You still got all the benefits of America versus coming here where you got no benefits at all. You got no help, none, none. 12, $1,500 a month. In America, you at least got food banks. You can at least get free health care. You can still get food stamps. In this country, what you think you're gonna get? You ain't get nothing. Zero. Zero. Man, I'm telling you, man, that is the most confounding thing to me. People coming here with that little bit of money, but they never show you guys where they actually live and how they actually live. They just show y'all snippets, them at the mall, or them walking around somewhere, or them being on a bus. And then the whole metro system here, bro. Y'all, man, people that do that, something special. Because if you guys see the lines, I'm saying the real lines, not what they show y'all through edits, the real lines that they have to wait to get on the bus, to get on the metro. I'm like, ain't no way. That many people, and I know some of y'all suffering from PTSD, ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way in hell. No way. No way. No way. You talking about hundreds of people standing, waiting, and get in line. Ain't no way, bro. No way. So I would just say this, man, for any of you guys who are considering, ladies and gentlemen, considering going overseas, forget the edits. Forget the edits. Watch the local news in that country and see if that's something you want to deal with. Stop listening to everybody tell you about all the great parts. And I don't care what country it is. Because people look at the U.S. and they go, oh, man, the U.S. is this and that and the third. And they base it upon the news and all the things that happen, like this thing that happened with the cops and that guy, the 5 cops that beat up that guy in Memphis, or the shooting that happened in California. Okay. Watch local news in the country you thinking about moving to. Forget whoever telling you whatever. Watch the local news in those countries. Because that's what you're comparing the U.S. to. Everybody right now on social media are talking about those 5 cops in Memphis, that shooting that happened in California, right? And they talking about they want to leave the U.S. and the U.S. is this, that, and the third. Okay, fine. Find the local news in whatever country you want to move to. Then come back and talk to me about how bad the U.S. is. Okay? Learn about all the fires that happen here. Learn about all the murders that happen here, all the kidnappings that happen here, all the different gangs that go on here and have gang wars here, that they're killing each other in some of the areas that some of these people actually live next door to. You all don't hear about that. You all don't hear about the expats who've been living here 4 or 5 years, been seeing the same girls for 4 or 5 years, come up dead because these girls have robbed them, have set them up to be robbed. You don't hear about that. All you see is the edits and people telling you about the good times. They don't tell you all this. Watch the local news in whatever country you're thinking about going to. Then come back to me and tell me if that's somewhere you want to go. And when people go, well, in the U.S., this happens every day. In Colombia, it doesn't happen as often. Listen to me. People are trying to compare a country that's damn near, California is damn near the size of this entire country. The state of California alone. The state of California is probably 8 to 10 million short of how many people are in this entire country. And they try to compare the entire U.S. to just that one state. You understand what I'm saying? That's not even in the ballpark. I don't know why people love to try to do that and say, oh, in the U.S., you got all this crime. If you take this country and match the size of the U.S., how much crime do you think would be here? That's the part people don't get. Watch local news, watch and see what it's really like, not the edits. Not people just throwing out stuff and telling you it's so wonderful here, it's paradise. This is paradise for you. Really, really. Some of you all are living pretty well right now in the United States. You got a nice house, you got a nice car, you have a routine, and you're going to give that up to live in another country, to live in the States. I'm just asking, you're going to give that up to live in another country? Because a lot of times when people come here, and again, go look at any statistics, a lot of times when people come here, they're not moving to areas that are equal to where they would be in the States because they're trying to get cheap. They want to go somewhere $200-$300 a month. Well, what do you think that puts you in here? I'm just curious for those people that think that way. What kind of place do you think $200-$400 puts you in? Because on my other channel, I'm going to start showing people what these $300 apartments, because I've started showing you some $300, $200, what they look like. No air conditioning. A lot of them don't have elevators, and the only apartment available is maybe 15, 16 floors up. How you think that's going to work out for you? How you going to get your furniture up there? Because most of these people take a rope and some friends and pull it up through the windows to the balcony, and that's how they get it up there. You come in here, you don't know nobody. How you gonna make that work? I'm trying to focus on this, man, because there's a lot of you guys who come, or you've gone to these countries following some of these other YouTubers who give y'all a lot of false information. Y'all get there, you see the reality, and you go, man, this ain't what I thought it was. Absolutely not. You think living on the beach, that's another one, and I'll be done with this video. Some of y'all think living on the beach is a perfect life, right? Y'all see these images, people have them on their computer screens, laying on the beach or chilling on the beach, watching the sun set, right? Some people think, hey, this is tranquilo. This is perfect life, okay? That's not the reality. That ain't the reality. Most of the time when you go on the beaches that are not local beaches that you know of, that you when you're on vacation and you go into these beaches, your ass is going to be harassed from the time you get out your taxi or your Uber, going to the beach. You think you're sitting there in peace? No, you're not. Every street hustler, every con man and woman is coming through bothering you the entire time. There's no country I have been to with a beach, even in the U.S., you just sitting there, ain't nobody asking you or bothering you about something. That's not the reality. That's not reality. Even if you're living there and they see you every day, they're still going to come to you every time. People have been knowing I've been living in this building for the longest time. Yet, I walk outside these gates, I go to certain stores, I'm still treated as a tourist. Even though I'm speaking their language, I got somebody with me talking to me in Spanish, they hear it all. But yet they still treat me like a tourist. That's the reality. Doesn't matter how long you've been in the country. Go to a different part of that country and see how they treat you. Just like a tourist. That's just the fact. So unless you're able to cope with those types of things and deal with those types of things, especially being a veteran who may have challenges, going overseas ain't for everybody. And that's the bottom line I'm trying to get to with this video. It is not meant for everybody to do it. It's not. Okay? All right, guys. But I'm going to start doing that, man, showing you guys reality in this country. There's too many times y'all see stuff and y'all go, oh, man, I'm going to go do that. Like with El Centro. I did a video on El Centro showing people the reality of El Centro, a different part where a lot of people go, not just where perverts go and they try to look for girls. Because that's the only image people have of El Centro, which is not true. Or go to Estadio, where a lot of gringos go and they move to Estadio and Laureles, and they think, oh man, this is awesome. Certain parts of it is. Certain parts of it looks like Beirut. That's not the reality. Baleen, Bejo here in Poblado, there's certain areas in Poblado, people think all of Poblado is the same. It most certainly is not. Most certainly is not. But I'm going to do that on my other channel, not on this one. On this one, I just want to talk to you vets, man, and just try to get y'all to understand. It's not the edits. Stop looking at the edits. You want to move to the Dominican Republic? Go on YouTube and look up Dominican Republic news. Find a news station. Transfer the gears at the bottom from Spanish to English, and it'll translate everything that they're saying so you can understand everything that goes on in those countries, not what somebody's just telling you to make it sound good. They'll give you the reality. Okay? All right, guys. That's it for this video. I appreciate everybody watching as always. I got to bounce, headed to Price Mart. Till the next time, guys, I'm out. Peace. Enjoy the rest of your day.